You could not watch a single NFL football game all election season without seeing a barrage of ads, constant, about the scourge of trans people and their alleged domination of American culture, thanks to Kamala Harris. Republicans have now run multiple campaigns in congressional, statewide, presidential, playing up fear of, for instance, trans women playing sports and trans youth seeking medical procedures with their parents', consent, obviously, or simply seeking to use a public restroom in privacy and dignity. And given all this, given how much emphasis there has been on this, I think it's worth asking, what is the scale of the issue we are talking about? Why are we talking about it? Republicans don't have an answer. Take West Virginia Senator Jim Justice. In 2021, as his state's governor, he signed a ban on trans students in school sports, but he couldn't tell Stephanie Ruhle that it solved any real-world problem.
Can you name one example of a transgender child trying to gain an unfair competitive advantage at a school there in West Virginia?
Well, Stephanie, I don't have that experience exactly to myself right now, but I will tell you this.
Not yourself, your state, sir. Can you give me one example of a transgender child trying to get an unfair advantage? Just one in your state. You signed a bill about it.
No, I can't really tell you one.
This Republican moral panic has given most Americans a wildly incorrect notion of the scale of just trans life in America. So in 2022, YouGov polled 1,000 Americans, found they really tend to vastly overestimate the size of basically every minority group, including the proportion of people who are transgender. Respondents guessed more than a fifth of the country was trans. The true estimate is 0.6%. Oh, but they're taking over women's and girls' sports. Another just lie, as the head of the NCAA told the Senate last month.
How many athletes are there in the United States in NCAA schools?
510,000.
How many transgender athletes are you aware of?
Less than 10.
Less than 10
Yep.
out of 510,000?
Yep.
Less than 10. In other words, less than 0.02% of college athletes are trans. But thousands of American children are being brainwashed and altered with puberty blockers. Also just not true. We've got a new peer-reviewed study, looked at more than 5 million health insurance claims by adolescents. As one study organizer told NPR this week, there were less than 1,000 youth that accessed puberty blockers and less than 2,000 that ever had access to hormones. In other words, less than 0.1% of teenagers with private insurance in the U.S. are transgender and receive gender-related medicine. Here is what is true. There are far, far fewer transgender Americans than the far right wants you to think there are. They want you to think the numbers are inflated because they need the fuel of real, actual human beings to be fed into the engine of their cynical culture wars. The more Republicans obscure that truth, the more damage they do to a deeper truth. No matter their numbers, every transgender person is as worthy as anyone else of dignity and respect and equal rights under the law.